The chimpanzee know he can beat you. The chimpanzee know he don't have to listen to you, but the chimp had to respect me.
Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of my interview with Grandmaster Vic Moore. Make sure to check out the other 2 parts linked in the description below. Part 1 where he talks about his karate origins, that training, and his encounter with Count Downsay. Part 2 where he talks about Bruce Lee. Now, that has been a little bit controversial and people have been giving me a lot of flack. Look, at the end of the day, whether you believe Vic Moore or not, that's his story. I'm glad he shared it. And overall, I want the Viking Samurai channel to be a resource from having all these stories, and who better to tell it than the individuals that were involved. So some of this stuff we'll dig deeper. Like, for example, I'm going to be live next week with the Kung Fu Genius further discussing the Vic Moore Bruce Lee topic. But at the end of the day, I want this channel to be a resource where people can look back in the future of any of these stories, because I cover a lot of stuff that is historical. Vic Moore going back to the 60s. A lot of my stuff is the 80s and 90s. Sometimes these stories are already out there. Sometimes I get exclusives, but I want this to be like the one-stop place for all these cool stories, right? So anyway, in part 3 of the interview, though, Vic Moore is going to talk about the chimpanzee Trudy that he taught karate, and also how breaking horses and flying airplanes helped his karate training. So he's an interesting guy, and I'm glad he's sharing these stories and part of his history. By the way, I heard he's getting honored at Sifu Alan Goldberg's martial arts event later this month. If you want to help sponsor and support him, there's a GoFundMe linked in the description below that you could help out. Oh, and somebody made a comment about that whole GoFundMe thing, by the way, and said that I'm trying to fleece people out of their money. It's like, I don't get anything out of this, for one. And I don't want to comment about Vic Moore too much, but basically he's not really in the best position to really cover his expenses and go to one of these martial arts events. So this is simply just me putting the word out, trying to help fellow martial artists. So anyway, it's linked in the description below. Now, with all that out of the way, I do want to say thank you, everybody. We hit a milestone 90,000 subscribers today, which is really awesome. Help support, man. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, share the video, like the video, and let's get on with the video.
Then in 75, I trained a chimpanzee to do karate.
I heard about that.
My
I wanted to ask you
chimpanzee
about that. So, whose idea was that? Whose idea was that?
Oh, well, me and my wife at the time, karate started going downhill in 65, I said, I could teach an elephant karate if it could listen and learn, better than these people out there call themselves doing karate now, stumping around, moving around, jumping up and down. He said, what? I said, yeah, I can teach an animal how to do karate better than these people are teaching karate nowadays. He said, what about an ape? I said, yeah, I could take an ape and teach an ape. We said, yeah, but we got no place to keep one. Where would you train him? And then we said, how about a chimpanzee? There was a zoo, a small zoo in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where we were living at the time. Mm-hmm. And this zoo had people come by and just look at different animals and stuff. Naturally, the chimpanzee was caged up, and we go by and we see this chimp from time to time. This small zoo was closing up, so he was open to the possibility to sell the chimp. Well, the chimpanzee was 4 years of age. Mm-hmm. Ask any zoo person, they'll tell you. When a chimp gets 4 years of age, you got to get rid of them because they're too vicious. Mm. A chimpanzee has 4 times the strength of a human. You don't put your hand up on a cage with a chimpanzee because they can grab your finger and pull it off almost hold you in.
Wow.
They could jump up and do a double back kick and break the chest bone. Mm-hmm. A chimpanzee got the things, they can break your bone with one bite. A chimpanzee is very dangerous. Don't buy a chimpanzee. Don't try and mess around with a chimpanzee because it is dangerous. Well, I knew judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, kung fu, you name it. I'm a world champion, you know. Hey, we're gonna get that chimp. The USDA family gave us a license to get the chimpanzee, and we got the chimpanzee. But first, I had to fight that chimpanzee. And if I didn't know judo, jiu-jitsu, and karate and boxing, well, I didn't tell you I used to box at the Melrose YMCA and the 9th Street YMCA in Cincinnati, Ohio. I had 12 amateur fights, and I won all 12 fights.
Wow.
I was Tiger Joe Harris' sparring partner, but I won those 12 fights because I cheated. I cheated. I would
What do
hit
you mean
with
you cheated?
a karate punch instead of boxing. I hit with a karate punch instead of a boxing punch.
I mean, that's still allowed though, right? I wouldn't really say that's cheating. I'd say that's just doing it different.
Yeah, but hey, you break some bones. I hit people, knock them out. I've actually, well, I don't want to. I've been in life and death situations. When I learned karate, we didn't learn karate for tournaments. We didn't learn karate for trophies and all that stuff. We were taught by people that learned karate to kill. So when they got out of the military, started teaching karate here in the United States, ask any old timer, they'll tell you the same thing. You were taught to disable a person. You were taught to lay them out. You weren't taught karate for a tournament, for a point. That's why they were so strict on us. That's why these old timers, you know, Jerry Pennington and all these guys, all these champions, Joe Louis and all, was in the military, and they didn't learn karate for just a sport. Nowadays, that's all it is, and it's a weak sport at that, you know. So it doesn't play. But I had to fight that chimp, and me and that chimp went at it. And I tell you, if I didn't know all the martial arts that I knew, that chimp could kill me. I had a stick about that long of a broomstick like they use in schools and restaurants, you know, the big handle of a broom, and had it cut off, and it was like a club, you know. And I could hit that chimp, beat that chimp, and it didn't do nothing, just shake it off.
Well,
I hit that chimp so hard. Now, I used to break 8 inches of concrete with the side of my hand. I used to demonstrate that in New York back in the olden days, you know, at some of the first tournaments. I used to break 8 inches of concrete with the side of my hand. I break 3 inches of concrete with my knuckles, and I could hit anything and break it. Now, I lost 2 jobs, construction jobs, because I would be breaking up all the concrete blocks and the bricks. I'd take a house brick, set it down, boom, break it. The supervisor come by. Why is all these bricks broken up? Everybody turned, pointing at me. The karate man.
Yeah.
The karate man, get your stuff and go home. You know, I lost 2 jobs because I would break up all the bricks and stuff. But anyway, back to the chimp. I would hit that chimp so hard that my arm would ache. My arm would ache all over. And I hit that chimpanzee hard enough to kill a man. You know, there's no question about it. I don't want to get
this
into all
chimp
of
though,
that. You know.
so did he live with you and your wife, Grandmaster Moore? Was this chimp like your roommate?
Yes. He slept on the bed. Now, it's on the internet, matter of fact.
Are there videos of it?
Yes, yes. Oh, by the way, I wrote a book. I wrote a book about my chimpanzee doing karate. Also, we got another book ready to come out. My chimp shooting pool. My chimp going dancing and stuff. All that. My chimp lived in a
I gotta ask
human
you. I
environment.
gotta ask you. How long? So you were beating the chimp, but how long did it take you to actually teach him karate?
About 6 months.
About 6
About
months.
6 months. Yeah, because the chimpanzee know he can beat you. The chimpanzee know he don't have to listen to you, you know, but the chimp had to respect me. He started respecting me little by little by little, because he seen that I was just as tough as he was. Now, I fought chimpanzee. Master Robert Triss had me riding the wild horses. I had to, as part of my training, he had some friends out in Arizona that had a ranch that they broke horses in. He says, Victor, you got to go some more training. I say, more training? What? You know, I'm thinking I'm going to be punching some bags or sparring with somebody. And we going to this horse ranch, you know, we looking there, you know, all these horses and bulls. And I'm wondering, why are we out there? Man, they breaking horses and getting thrown all over the place, stepped on. Vic, I want you to get in there and break this horse. I never been on a horse in my life. Huh? What you talking about, Sensei? Vic, you're going to get out there and break that horse in. So I got up on it and it's going all, and you ever been on a horse? I say, no, sir, I've never been on a horse. So you don't know what to do. No, sir, I don't know. Squeeze your knees in. That's against our karate. We force our knees out. Turn your feet out. Fair. In karate, we turn our feet in. Lean back, stay back. In karate, we keep our back straight. They tell me all this stuff that is against my karate. About like when I took ballet also, you know.
Oh, you did?
And we had to turn our feet out. We had to do this, you know, and all. And I wasn't very good at it, but I was good enough for in a play called The King and I, and also Nutcracker Suite. And I did pretty fair. I was a catcher, and, you know, but wasn't my thing. But it helped me in karate, you know.
Oh yeah, just like
time.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, it helped.
So when I was out there and I had to get on this horse, and they opened the gate and I'm doing all this they told me to do, and I'm kind of hanging on there, you know. Then the horse ran over to the fence and he stopped to try and throw me over, and I know it. And I leaned way back, you know, and almost then the horse, he threw me off. Master Trish says, Vic, you got to get up on that horse and you got to break that horse. Now, you just get up there and pretend that's Joe Louis and y'all fighting, and you got to win this match. So he knew how to get me going, saying, that horse is like Joe Louis, you know. Well, I went back, got up on the horse, you know. They say, you ready? Yes. Boom, go. I rode that horse and I broke that horse. Well, the next day I had to go back out there and they had this white horse that had only been ridden once. And I'm thinking I'm a horse breaker now, you know. I'm thinking I'm good. And I went on that horse. He runs to the fence and he stopped. I don't fall. I lay all the way back on him. The horse says, okay. I said, okay. That horse went, there was a big puddle of mud because it had been raining that day. That horse came up there and he stopped and tried to throw me off. I wouldn't go. I leaned all the way back. That horse got smart. He said, okay. He got down on his front knees and he put his head down. And I'm on this horse, no saddle. And I'm sliding down. And I'm trying to reach and grab for the horse tail, but I couldn't even get his tail. And I slid down in that mud, boy, and everybody laughed, you know. And that was part of my karate training. That was it. Now, the knowing how much nerve I had, another little interesting story you might like to hear. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I wanted to take flying lessons. And, you know, people say, oh, karate man, huh? What kind of nerve you got, you know, and all. So, and I was still young, you know, stupid, you know. And I get in the airplane the first time, very first time, in a Cessna 150. And we're doing flying, breaking the wind. See, when the wind blows, you break into it, you know, and whatnot. Oh, you're pretty good, you know. I'm handling this. He says, so you never had any flying? I said, no. And we was on what is called a tricycle. A tricycle's got that little small wheel on the back. It's not like the regular planes this day and time, a level, it's more 45-degree angle, and you got to hold back on it to keep that back wheel on the ground. I did okay with that. Next flying lesson, he got this special plane we're going to go up in. We doing what is called flare outs. We fly, and then all of a sudden he cuts that engine off. Engine off, the plane is dropping, going down. I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. He says, what are we going to do? So I don't know. He said, now when your plane does this, push in on the rudder and you pick up speed. I say, but you're heading to the ground. He said, yeah. We push, we pick up speed, and I get airspeed, then it levels off. He said, hey, you pretty good, guy. He said, most people get nervous and start screaming and hollering. He says, we'll try something the next day. The next day, you know what we do? We flying upside down, several feet, just a few feet off the ground. Mm-hmm. And man, I hung in there. He looked over at me and says, you got the nerve, boy. You can fly, So he started regular teaching me then. So yes, I have that nerve. I don't like height that much, but hey, I love flying. I like flying. I'm a EMT. Come off the fire department. I had to rappel. I like rappelling down. I know how to rappel. I know how to go into a burning building, come out safely. So I got a big history, right behind me. But that chimpanzee, that was one of the people says, who was your toughest competitor? That chimpanzee, Trudy is her name. Catch her on a video doing, sleeping in the bed, making up her bed, frying bacon and eggs, and sitting at the table, drinking coffee and eating her toast and bacon and all. And giving the chimpanzee some corns, and the chimp take the corners, 2 quarters, and go put it into the machine and pull out the drink that she liked, which was orange or grape. And then she go outside and sit up on a parking meter and drink her Coke, waving at the cars going by.
Whatever happened to that chimpanzee?
Oh, well, the chimp finally died. It got a cold because chimp can't handle cold. They got to live in good good weather. And see, now, physically, she's strong because chimps, they fall out of trees. That's why their skull is so strong, so much harder than us, because my dad used to say, boy, you got a hard head. Yeah, but not like them chimpanzee.
Yeah.